Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for spending this lovely Wednesday night with us to talk all things financial aid for the 2026-2027 award year. I am your host, the Cash Money Princess, here to bring you all the information about how to get cash for college. And it is my privilege, nay, it is my honor to introduce some of the greatest presenters of our generation. Their greatness is known to know no bounds, and they are back by popular demand. So give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for DJ Gusty Gus and the godfather of financial aid, Mr. Frank Green. Woo!
Yay!
Woo!
All right. Thank you for that introduction. We got some housekeeping to get you guys to before we start this awesome presentation. So, first of all, we want to let you guys know that this session is going to be recorded. We're recording this presentation so that you guys can easily go back to it and access it after at any time on our website, collegeiswithinreachhawaii.com. You probably have noticed by now that your cameras and your microphones and the chat feature have all been turned off. We're going to ask you to please post any questions that you have on the Q&A feature. This allows us to make sure that we answer all your questions, and it makes sure that we have all the questions in an orderly file order ready to go for us to answer. So please do use the Q&A feature. This is a webinar format, so this Zoom is a one-way presentation for us to present directly to you. We want to make sure that you guys are asking questions in the scope of the presentation. So we're going to ask that you actually hold off on some of your questions because they actually might be answered in the scope of the presentation tonight. This presentation, again, has been targeted to answer all of the questions that we think you guys are going to be asking. So please follow along with us through the presentation. If you have a question, please hold off on it until we get to the parts in the presentation. We're going to be breaking 3 times to answer questions in the scope of this presentation. And again, if you're answering questions from a personal or sensitive nature, please do not post any of this personal information on the Q&A. We're going to ask that any personal or sensitive student information be sent directly to us at fafsa@hawaii.edu. All right. With that said, we're going to get started with this presentation by asking the fundamental question, what is financial aid? And basically, to answer that question, funds to help students and families pay for educational expenses. If you sell a chicken adobo plate on the side of the road and you get money to help pay for college, that could be considered financial aid. Did you guys know that? These are funds to help students and families pay for educational expenses. But as we are approaching financial aid from a fundraising perspective, it really helps to understand what do financial aid funds consist of. And we're going to go through these so that you guys understand the differences and also what funds to be focusing on in your fundraising pursuit. So the first one is grants. You're going to hear that word a lot. Grants. And you're probably going to hear the most famous grant of all. And it rhymes with smell. If it rhymes with smell, it is probably the Pell Grant. Pell Grant. The Pell Grant is probably one of the largest sources of funding to help students pay for college. The coolest thing about the Pell Grant is that it is completely free monies out there. So usually when you hear the word grant, that could be a pot of money that is free for students and parents. Other funds consist of scholarships. So we hear this word a lot, a scholarship out there. Scholarships, again, are also free monies that students and parents should be focusing on. Scholarships can come in many different forms, and there are literally thousands and thousands of organizations out there that provide scholarships to students and parents. In addition to that, there are employment opportunities where students can work like a real employee and earn money to help subsidize their education. So employment opportunities definitely are a fund part of financial aid. And then finally, there's that L word, loans. Now, we all know the bad part about loans is that you need to pay that money back. Um, the good thing about loans is that these can be funds that can help families get through paying those initial expenses in college. And some of these loans also don't need to be paid back until after a student graduates. So loans can be a great way to help students get through these hurdles and these initial expenses of college. Next slide, please. So where else do I look for funding? Well, we want you guys to be looking at the financial aid offices and the admissions offices and the websites um, of these offices, because really many colleges and universities use financial aid as an incentive for students to enter their schools. And some of these great scholarships and grants are located right on the financial aid and admissions websites of the universities and colleges that you're looking at. We also want you guys to be making connections with your high school counselor's office, especially your college counselor. Your high school college counselor has a whole list of different funding opportunities that are available just for high school students. In fact, we in higher education don't get to see a lot of these funds because the high school counselors have these scholarships on lock. So we want to make sure that you guys are making friends with your high school college counselor. Take them a bento, take them a nice coffee after work. They all appreciate it. And guess what? High school college counselors also make a great source to write letters of recommendation. Just an insider tip. From there, we know you guys are going to go on the internet. You're going to Google the word scholarships. You're going to look for the different sources and sites out there that offer scholarships. And we just want you guys to be careful when you're searching on the internet, to be aware of these different scams. Now, there is a whole bunch of different scams out there. And really, one clue to a scam is that if they are charging you money, this whole financial aid game is to get other people to pay for us to go to college. And I don't care what they call it. They can call it an application fee. They can call it a membership fee. They can call it a finder's fee, a whole bunch of different things. If they're charging you money, that probably is a scam. And if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So just be careful when we're on the internet looking for scholarships. All right, here we go. We're talking about the free monies right now. We want to focus on the free monies that are out there to help students and parents pay for college. And again, we're going to go back to that Pell Grant word. Pell Grant, Pell Grant, Pell Grant. This really is the easiest monies out there to access. The Pell Grant is done. You're either eligible for it or you're not. And you do it just by doing the free application for federal student aid. And you're going to hear this a lot in the scope of this presentation, how important the FAFSA is to your financial aid applications and the different scholarships and grants that are out there. The Pell Grant, it has a max award of $7,395 to pay for college for the 25-26 year. This Pell Grant is, again, the easiest monies to access. You get access to it just by completing the FAFSA, and it goes down from there. $7,395 is the max. I believe the lowest Pell Grant award a student can get is right around $510. So some of the five.
Can't see fingers on the screen. We're at 700 now as our minimum Pell
Did they
Grant.
raise it to 700?
They did,
Oh
yes.
gosh. So 700 will be the minimum award you'll get if you're eligible for Pell. Yeah.
And I've got some breaking news for you that's just kind of coming out as we speak. The amount that we have here, 73.95, is the maximum for our current financial aid award year 25-26. This number is set by Congress. It's a budget item. We don't yet have any confirmation on 26-27. However, we have both the Senate's budget and the House of Representatives budget level funding at 73.95. So again, no promises. Who second guess Washington nowadays? But it's looking good that we're not going up, but we may still have 73.95 for 26, 27.
The main thing is that we don't go down. That's the
That's what
main
we're
thing.
hoping. Yeah.
Yeah. So $7,395 can be the easiest monies to access. This is the low-hanging fruit, guys. This is the first monies that will be entering your award package, because this is what you'd be eligible for just by doing the FAFSA. In addition to that, there's the Supplemental Education Opportunity Grants, or SEOGs. These are monies for students with the highest need. And it says right here that there's a $4,000 max award. We will probably never ever see a $4,000 SEOG grant. Right around $400, $500 is probably a prime number for SEOG. The Godfather has said that he's seen an SEOG amount in right around 1,100, which for me was just blowing my mind. Where was that, Godfather?
But yeah, you need to kind of qualify that a little bit. That was from a very small public university on the eastern edge of South Dakota. Very small. I mean, they had like 1,500, 1,800 students, but it was an $1,100 SEOG. Never seen anything close to it since.
In addition to that, the free monies in the form of work, in form of federal work study programs. Now, these are monies that students can access by working as a real employee. They can work on the campus that they are studying at. That is a big plus. A student that can get up to 20 hours worth of work and not leave the college campus. The cool thing is they have a flexible work schedule. They're paid like a regular employee, and the monies can be used to support the students living for their whole year in college. So federal work study can be a great way. We want you guys to check out the financial aid offices to see how you're eligible for that. In addition to that, there is the Hawaii Promise Scholarship. Now, if you're thinking about going to one of the 7 University of Hawaii Community College campuses, this could be a great way to help pay for the first 2 years in college. The Hawaii Promise Scholarship is really the Hawaii State Legislature's attempt to make community college free for Hawaii State residents. Ooh, I love it. This is a last dollar award, which means that after a student gets all of their grants and scholarships out there, if there are any monies left over in forms of direct costs, this scholarship would step in and pay for it. Now, there is no application for this scholarship, which makes it really, really cool. But a student must complete the free application for federal student aid, or the FAFSA. And you're going to hear this a lot through our presentation. You must complete the FAFSA to be eligible for this special scholarship. Minimum half-time enrollment is a mandatory, and then also satisfactory academic progress to continue the Hawaii Promise is required, just like any other scholarship that you're going to get in higher education. In addition to the Hawaii Promise Scholarship, there is the Hawaii B+ Scholarship. And again, this is for UH campuses only. But if you're graduating from a public high school, which means a public high school in Hawaii, you have a 3.0 GPA, and your transcripts make it to the financial aid office, and you graduate this public high school with a rigorous curriculum, meaning you are graduating with a diploma, and you have some kind of financial need, you could be eligible for this Hawaii B+ Scholarship. The cool thing is that these are monies that are coming from the state of Hawaii. In addition to that, there's a whole list of other scholarships that are funded by the state at hawaii.edu/tuition/scholarships. Go ahead and take a look at all of those opportunities out there. If you're looking at going away to school and you're thinking about studying on the mainland, we want to tell you guys a little bit about WUI, the Western Undergraduate Exchange Program. WUI is a great way to keep costs down and still go away to college. And this started a whole bunch of years ago when the governors of all of these states got together and said, hey, you take care of our students, we'll take care of your students coming to our public colleges and institutions. So it goes back and forth. The University of Hawaii system is also a WUI program. We take students from out of state and we have the special tuition and a half. You get a resident tuition, 1.5 tuition of a resident tuition. That is how we do WUI in the University of Hawaii system. But it can manifest itself in different ways. It can be a reduced tuition rate. It can be a scholarship. It can be a tuition waiver. I've seen it done in different ways, and I've also seen it only applicable to different programs at a college or university. So we want you guys to check out the participating colleges and check out the application process that varies by college, because it really is very different. More information can be accessed at witchy.edu/tuition-savings. All right, when we're turning our attention to scholarship and accessing the millions and millions of free monies out there to help students pay for college, there are literally too many scholarships to apply for. There are literally millions of dollars available in the form of different applications and different organizations, even private people are offering scholarships. This is where we think you as a Hawaii student should start first. We want to start with Hawaii Community Foundation. Hawaii Community Foundation, you do one scholarship application, but there's literally over 300 to 400 scholarships per year. The ease of the application, it is challenging, but it is a really great step because you guys are competing against students that are only in Hawaii. That's the best part about HCF, or the Hawaii Community Foundation scholarships. You write a couple of essays, you look at the different scholarships that you're eligible for, you check them off through the boxes, and you go through the whole requirements of the different scholarships that they have. And you'd be surprised how much money you could probably get to start off your scholarship search. From there, we want you guys to check out Kamehameha Schools and Pauahi Foundation. Those are two of the largest sources of funding for our Native Hawaiian students. Really, really great opportunities there. And then you're going to go online and you're going to look at the different types of scholarship search engines that they have online. You're going to create a national profile, and you're going to look at some of these different scholarships that are on the national stage where everybody's applying to them. We put together 3 different sites that we think will be a great way to get started. In fact, there are so many scholarships, again, you're going to have to prioritize your time to actually apply for them. So SallieMae.com is probably your first step in a college scholarship search engine. SallieMae.com/college planning/college scholarships is the site. This will take you through creating your national profile and putting in the things that you're interested in to see what different types of scholarships there are. And believe me, there are, again, too many scholarships to actually apply for everyone. So Sallie Mae helps you prioritize the different scholarships that you're going to be applying to. From there, you're going to be creating a national profile on finaid.org. I use that application for some of the smaller micro scholarships that are out there, some of the smaller different types of indigenous funding that's available. You'd be surprised what they have that's a little bit different on finaid.org compared to SallieMae.com. In addition to that, there's this thing called Scholars App, scholarsapp.com. This is a scholarship search engine that you guys can do on your phone. I'm supposed to be showing you my phone right here. Okay. Now, I don't use Scholars App for the simple fact that I have fat fingers, but I have seen students knock out a scholarship application in less than 10 minutes on their phone. If you're a texter and you have the ability to text really super fast, Scholars App is built on this premise of using your phone to apply for different types of scholarships and financial aid. This is really where we want you guys to start. From there, you're going to be applying to all of these other different foundations and scholarship programs that you can find across the country. But this is really where we want our Hawaii students to start this process. This is our one slide about the CSS profile. If you are going to a private college and a private university, or a private scholarship foundation, or a special private grant program, the CSS profile can be done, and it should be done if you're going to be going to one of these colleges or universities. This is in pairing with your College Board account. And again, I definitely recommend students who are in the college planning process to start a College Board account. They really should have a College Board account to see the differences in the different colleges and universities that are out there. But the CSS profile should only be done if we are applying for one of these colleges or universities that requires it, or there's a special scholarship program that offers a scholarship through the CSS profile. This is a little bit like the FAFSA. It's not only going to ask you what your parents made this year, it's going to ask you what your parents made last year, and then it's going to ask you what your parents think they're going to make this year. So it's a little bit different in the ways. It's like the FAFSA, but a little bit more comprehensive in the questions that they're asking. So again, we're only going to do this application if there is a special scholarship that we're applying to, or if there's a college or university that requires it. If not, we're going to leave it on the side. And again, this is a private scholarship financial aid assessment tool, which means they could be charging you different fees. This is probably the only time that I'm okay with paying for one of these application fees, because it's in association with College Board and the CSS profile, which is a private financial aid tool. Godfather, why should we complete the FAFSA?
So would this be a good time maybe to take a look at, see if we got any questions that we could?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what we got. Oh, here's a great one.
Oh, I love
Godfather, when
it. Yeah.
When is the FAFSA opening up? I heard it's postponed.
Oh, no, it's not postponed at all. No, it will be officially opened on October 1st. But again, because you folks are all special and you're here this evening, we'll give you an insider's track. You can actually do it right now. They are in the middle of beta testing. This is the second round of beta testing, and you will be able to request a beta test slot. It's not totally free. You've got to request a spot. They're controlling the numbers that do it, but they're approving everybody that's gone in. And once you get approved, they'll send you a link and you can actually go on and do your FAFSA right now. I will tell you, there is no rush. You don't need to do it right now. You're not going to get more money. You're not going to get your aid sooner. Schools are not going to process your application any sooner. It's just one thing that you don't have to worry about because you got it done. But that is available. I would say that if you are interested in that, send us an email to fasfa@hawaii.edu, and we'll let you know how you get started on that.
Godfather, how would I apply for a federal work-study program, and how is this done?
Once you've submitted the FAFSA, the school will take that information and process your award. So it will be the school that lets you know if you are eligible for work study. It's not a separate application. It's part of the initial packaging that we do for students. If you are eligible, you will want to check with that school, specifically their financial aid office, as to what their procedures are for finding a work-study job and applying for it. But it is a job that you will have to apply through. Most schools will have a separate job listing section on their website that you can check, which will give you kind of where you should start on the process.
All right. We're going to go ahead and get you back to the presentation. Why complete the FAFSA, Godfather?
Let's jump right into it. And I'll give you the easy answer, and then I'll give you the detailed answer. The easy answer is because Frank said so. So if people are bugging you and they're asking you, you say, well, the guy told me I got to do it. And that will normally keep everybody quiet. The FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid, is what determines the SAI. The SAI is a student aid index. Now, if we have any old timers out there that might remember a thing called an EFC, an expected family contribution, this has replaced that. The EFC is gone, it's out. SAI is in. The SAI is a number that will mean absolutely nothing to the student, but it will mean something to the financial aid office. It is what we're going to use to determine a student's eligibility for federal aid. That's a key point there. It is not FAFSA that determines a student eligibility. It is the school that sets that eligibility. And just to give you kind of one example, FAFSA doesn't know whether you're going to be attending full-time or part-time. Aid varies depending on whether you're going full-time or part-time. Only the school has the rest of the information needed to complete your eligibility and put together a package for you. It lets us at the school know exactly what type of aid you're eligible for. I mentioned college work study, federal Pell Grant. Are you eligible for student loans? It comes from the FAFSA. But in addition to the federal financial aid programs, the SAI and the FAFSA is used by many, many state programs, private scholarships. When you apply for scholarships through Hawaii Community Foundation, one of the documents they're going to ask you to submit is a copy of a process FAFSA, which is called the FAFSA submission summary. But again, it's just used by everybody else out there as well. So do it, get it done. It's not going to be a big deal. It's taken 5 to 10 minutes to finish this thing right now. I promise. It's easy, it's slick, and it's working good. Did I give the October 1st opening date? I'm not
You
sure
did.
I did. Okay, good for me.
You did.
Good for me. Wow, look at here. Here's a slide actually about that. It will open officially on October 1st, 2025. We do want you to apply early. Now, within reason, I mean, you don't need to do this tomorrow. More power to you if you get it done, but that's being pre-early. Early means we want you to get it done in the beginning of October. I do not recommend doing this in the first week of October, especially in the first October 1st and 2nd. There will be close to 6 million applications that will hit this computer in the first week of October. And no matter what they say, it is still an antiquated computer system. And when 6 million records hit the computer at one time, you know what happens? Of course you do. It goes crash. It's done it every year that I can remember. And I can remember when we first started with computers and we didn't have them. It's going to crash. It always does. So give it some breathing room. Let them get the bugs worked out on that first week and then do the FAFSA. If you're getting the FAFSA done anytime in October, you're fine. You're not going to miss out on anything at that point. If you're not doing it until November, yeah, you're probably okay, but I'm not happy. I'd rather see it done earlier than that. If Christmas rolls around and New Year's and it's January and you haven't done the FAFSA yet, we're going to have words. You're late. You need to get it in. You still do it, still get it in, but understand that you may have missed the opportunity for some funds that have already been given out and they're gone. So this is why we want you to get your applications in as early as possible so that you are going to be, you put your name in the hat for anything and everything that you might be eligible for. In order to start the FAFSA, the first thing that's got to happen is you have to create what's called an FSA ID, also known as the FAFSA or financial aid account. FSA ID is the electronic signature that you will use for all things federal financial aid. So the student will use it frequently. They will sign their FAFSA, they'll start their FAFSA, they will sign their FAFSA, they will sign any loan papers. All things that are federal and are related to financial aid require the FSA ID. Every student must have their own FSA ID. For most of you, we will need at least one parent to have an FSA ID as well. Now, parents, if you already have one, maybe you went to college recently or in the past few years, you would have created an FSA ID, or if there's an older child in your household and you created an FSA ID so they could do financial aid. You got it, your pal. You cannot make another one. You will use your same original FSA ID for every student that you have in your house. You only get one. Every student got to have theirs, but parents, we only need one FSA ID. Now, in the case of parents where you are married, living together in the same house, and you filed separate taxes for 2024. So you filed married filing separately in 2024. Then I will need both parents to have an FSA ID. If you filed a joint tax return, then one FSA ID, and I don't care whether it's mom or dad, one account is going to be sufficient. In the case of divorce or separation, it is only one parent that needs to have an account. Which parent? It will be the parent who provided the greater support for the student in the previous 12 months. I'm going to leave it at that. If that creates confusion for you, please contact us at FSA FAFSA at hawaii.edu, and we'll be sure to easily walk you through it. We've seen the different scenarios, and we can kind of make that problem easy. So again, if you filed a joint tax return and married, one FSA ID, separated divorce, only one parental FSA ID. Every student must have their own FSA ID. This is open now. You could go home and do this tonight. You could do it tomorrow. You can do it over the weekend. It's up and ready to go. Takes 10 to 15 minutes to finish it. It's not a big deal. This is the opening page. So if you're going to go and do your FSA ID, you're going to go here to studentaid.gov. Get used to that one. Studentaid.gov is the opening page, jumping off point for all things federal financial aid. So we're going to start our FAFSA here, but we would also do loans and entrance counseling. In fact, loan repayment, forgiveness, all those things go through studentaid.gov. Over here on studentaid.gov on the right-hand side, you'll see it says login, create. Many times it'll say login or create right here in the middle. I don't care where you see it. Go ahead and click on create if this is your first time in. It'll bring you to the creation page for the FSA ID. Click on get started. It'll take you in. Like I said, the application's a breeze. It shouldn't cause you any problem. First name, last name. At that point, though, I do want to caution you, you have to use the name, date of birth that matches exactly with what's on your Social Security card. It will do a database match with Social Security to verify that your name and date of birth and Social Security number are all matching with what's in Social Security's database match. So exactly the way it appears on your Social Security card is how you need to do this. Now, we are now officially into instant verification. In the past, it's been 2 to 3 days. You would have to wait. We don't have to do that anymore. It will, as soon as you're done with this, it will verify it right then and there, or it will come back and say, no, sorry, this unable to verify, which means the information you entered is not matching the information that Social Security has. Go back and find it, change it. Username, you make it up. It is unique, which means it will check every other username in their system. And if yours has already been used, it'll tell you you can't have this one. You got to make up something else. What I recommend you doing, because we do want you to try and remember this username, stick with the first one that came to your mind and add some numbers to it. So put 808 at the end of it, add your zip code, add your, I don't know, street address, number of your house, something. But try and stick with something you might remember. Email address, students, we recommend you use personal email. Do not use your school email address. And parents, same thing on your side. Do not use your work email. Use a personal email. And if you don't have one, go get it. Go to Google, go to Microsoft, go to Yahoo, whatever ones are out there, and go make a free email that you can use on school stuff. The FSA ID is yours for the rest of your life. Your school emails, be it the high school or college, will eventually disappear, and you don't want to get stuck not being able to access because you don't have the email. You're going to create your password, you're going to confirm it, and continue. Mailing address. Look, you got to put something here, but I don't care what you put. You can put a P.O. box, you can put a street address, you can put your neighbor's address. I really don't care. I'm not going to mail you anything, but you do have to fill it out. Mobile phone, we want your cell phone up here. We like having the cell phone because it helps when we need to retrieve, like I forgot my username or I forgot my password. It's easier to deal with text messaging than it is with emails. Though email's gotten better, but a text message in for security codes is 5 seconds, and email is now about a minute. It used to be a couple minutes, but it's getting better and better. So use your cell phone, continue. Nothing needs to be done on this page unless you want your communications to come to you in Spanish. You can click English or Spanish here. That's it. There are no other. We're supposed to have 11 different languages, but we don't. They never got around to doing that. So English or Spanish. If you're okay with English, you got nothing to do on this page. Continue, go for challenge questions. You know this routine. You pick a question and answer the question. I don't care what your answer is. I'm not checking your answer. It's whatever you want it to be. Continue. We're going to verify the phone. We're going to verify the email. Once you click the verify, this one is for the phone. It'll send you a text message, 6-digit code. Enter the code here. Click on verify in the bottom right-hand corner. Same thing is going to happen with the email. Check your email, get the code, click on verify, looking good, review it, and you're done, and you're back to the log on screen for Federal Financial Aid, FAFSA. So we're going to come up here and we're going to click, actually we can click FAFSA form or we can click log in. Either way, it's going to bring you here, which is where you will log in. It is the student that we want to start this form. Remember, this is the student's FAFSA. Parent, you are not doing a FAFSA. What you are doing is providing information that will be included on your student's FAFSA in order to determine their eligibility. But you are not creating a FAFSA. It is the student. This form is designed for the student to enter their information, invite their parent, and then parent, you enter your information, and then we're done. So we really want the student to start this application, enter their username, and as long as we completed verification of the phone and email, both of those, the cell phone and the email, will now be usernames as well.
So,
Password,
Godfather,
yes.
so I wanted to ask, so we as a parent can do the FAFSA for the student. Is that correct?
Yes.
Um,
If you have the student's codes.
okay.
And by codes, I mean, yeah, parents, if the student is willing to share with you their username and password, you can enter that and you can click log in, but it's going to go send a security code to either the cell phone or the email. So you're going to have access to the student's cell phone or their email. They're going to have to grant you access to that or be sitting next to you and provide you with it. You cannot use your cell phone on yours and the students. Won't let you do that, only one. So can it be done? Yes. I would, well, this is the helicopter parent thing. I would strongly suggest that you let the student do it. This is their life. They're going to college. It's time to put on the big boy pants and buckle down and get the work done. Now, having said that, realistically, I was a parent, and when my daughter went to college, I did her FAFSA just as fast as can be. So yeah, hypocrite, absolutely, no question.
Okay, but just right here, right now, in front of everybody at Financial Aid Night,
Yes.
students should start the FAFSA. Parents should wait for their invitation and continue it that way because it's a student application. Yeah?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. That's
That's
our
the
recommendation.
way we're going to do it. Yes.
We're sticking with it. Okay. Thank you.
If you don't pay attention to us and you screw it up, shoot us an email at fasfa@hawaii.edu. We'll get in there with you and we'll get it fixed. All right, username, password, click log in. This is what your opening screen is going to look like. So it's the student that's going to be doing this. We're going to go ahead and start a new form. Now, you don't have to finish this in one setting. You could start it and then go watch a TV show or something. But I'll tell you, it just doesn't take very long at all to do this. You'll get through it in 10, 15 minutes. So I would say you can get it done, but you can stop and then you can come back in with edit an existing form. Parent, when you log in after the student has sent you an invitation, you're going to be coming in here where you will accept an invitation, which will not start a new FAFSA, but put you in or connect you with the student's FAFSA. We're going to check off I am student starting the FAFSA, and we're going to continue. We've got 4 screens here that I'm going to strongly suggest you just click continue and get through them as fast as possible, unless you're having problems sleeping at night and you need a sleep aid. Go ahead and watch these. It'll put you to sleep in 10 minutes. Otherwise, boring, boring, boring. Click continue once, do it twice, just for grins, a third time. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start the FAFSA form. This is the personal identification information for the student. You cannot change anything here. That's why it doesn't look like you can change it. This is coming directly from their FSA ID. Their FSA ID has been matched with Social Security, so at this point, it's a little more complicated to try and change something. So look at it, say, oh, very nice, and then continue. Student, your state of residence. If you were born in the state of Hawaii, you're going to select Hawaii, and then give me your birth date. Otherwise, you will let me know when you came or became a resident of the state of Hawaii. And just so you know, this has nothing to do with your financial aid eligibility. This is used by institutions or may be used by institutions to determine whether you're eligible for in-state or out-of-state resident, non-resident tuition, but it's not part of the financial aid formula. This is the consent and approval. Now, parents, you're going to get the exact same form coming up. And obviously you can read through this. It's boring, boring, boring. You're going to get down to the end and you need to click approve here. You don't have a choice. What you are doing is you are giving your approval first for the student. Parent, yours is coming, but you're giving your approval for FAFSA to hook up with IRS and transfer your tax information automatically. Now, I know many of you may not be comfortable with that, and I'm sorry, too bad. If you don't do this, if you don't click approve, the student is not eligible for financial aid. There's no way around this. You cannot submit a paper FAFSA and get away from this. If it's not approved and on the record, then the student is just flat out not eligible for financial aid, and there is no appeal to that at all. So again, you just don't have a choice.
So, Godfather?
Yes.
So I want to be devil's advocate here.
Go for it.
Is it possible for us to submit the FAFSA and not provide consent?
Yes. I mean, you actually can submit it. It will be considered a reject. It will most likely not get processed because it doesn't have all the information it needs. I, being a financial aid officer at a school, won't even see it, nor would I touch it with the 10-foot pole. It's not a valid FAFSA.
Okay.
But yeah,
so
you
it
can
has
get
to
it
be
in there.
done if you want to get funding. If you want to get, okay, awesome, thank you.
And I, not that I know everything, but I can't give you a reason why you're submitting this and not wanting funding. It probably is, but I don't know what that is. I'm fully aware that most of our students did not file taxes in 2024 because they was students and probably weren't working enough to be required to file taxes. They still need to provide the approval. FAFSA will hook up with IRS and will ask for a copy of the taxes, and IRS will say no taxes on file. Just so you know, once this does happen and they move over the tax numbers, you will not be able to see them. The student can't see them, parents, you can't see them. Nobody can see them except me. And by me, I mean the financial aid office at the school where your student's attending. It's a security thing. So if anybody should happen to hack into a FAFSA, they would not be able to get tax information for student or parent. Once you've provided the approval, it tells you that we're going to get it, and it'll come back and say, success, we got it. And again, this is the same response you will see if the student did not file taxes and there's nothing on record. you'll see this same response. The only time you don't is when something stays broke and it just doesn't work at all. Personal circumstances for the student, student's marital status, we assume, or we shouldn't, but we think this will be single. First year in college. If it's not, then you would go ahead and select second year or other undergraduate. Be careful about selecting the fourth one there, the master's, the doctorate, the graduate level classes. That you only check that off if you already have a bachelor's degree. If you don't yet have a bachelor's degree, you would click no on the bottom of this form and then continue. We're starting to look at the student's dependency status. This is the first set of questions. Is the student active duty military veteran of the armed forces? Do they have their own children at a time after the age of 13? Were they an orphan? Were the court foster care? Are they an emancipated minor? No, they are not. Are they in a legal guardianship? And power of attorney does not count. If the student checks one of these off that applies to them, they would automatically be considered independent, and parental information would not be asked for. We may ask for documentation, we being the school. So if you check off that you're in a legal guardianship, it's very probable the school is going to ask you for the official notification from the court documenting the guardianship. Same thing with foster care. We will need documentation of this. You'll have to prove it to us. Otherwise, none of the above, and continue. Is the student currently or at risk of being homeless? Are there unusual circumstances? We're fully aware that there are circumstances where the student is not able to provide us with parental information. The parents ain't around for whatever the reason, but it's just not going to happen. Now, I'm not talking about a parent who doesn't want to give information. That's a different story. This is physically not possible to get parental information. So the student will check off yes if that's their situation. It'll give them kind of a list of describing, give me a brief explanation as to what's going on. And then it goes to the school. So it will let the student complete the FAFSA, but it is still an invalid FAFSA. It is not yet activated until the student talks with the school, does what the school says they have to do, and then we sign off on it. Once we sign off on it, then we're good to go. But if we don't hear from the student, nothing will happen here. Nothing will get done to the FAFSA, and it will not be valid. This is a case where the parent is refusing to provide information. That doesn't help the student. It basically says the student's not eligible for financial aid. There is a possibility the school may give the student an unsubsidized loan if the school wants to. And I got to tell you, most schools that I'm in contact with don't. Just a bad way to start off school is to start off with an unsubsidized loan. Not a good thing at all. So the parents aren't doing the student any favors here. They're hurting them by making them ineligible for financial aid. This is student demographics. I apologize for these up front. This has nothing to do, student, with your eligibility. It is an absolute waste of your time. Be sure and thank Congress for that. It is not part of the formula. Schools will not see this information. It is, again, a waste of your time, but you got to answer something or it won't let you through. On the student's sex, it's male or female. Continue. The rest of these questions, and there's like 4 pages of them, you can answer them. I just wanted to show you when you answer something simple like race is Asian, a whole bunch of other options will pop up that you have to deal with as well. At the very bottom of each of these is an option that says prefer not to answer. I suggest you go ahead and click the prefer not to answer and move on and get out of there. It's not helping, it's not hurting. Citizenship is part of the application. Here we have 3 choices. You are a U.S. citizen. You are not a U.S. citizen, but you are an eligible non-citizen. This would normally be green card is what we're talking about. The third option is that you are neither a U.S. citizen nor an eligible non-citizen. And I'm sorry, but you are not eligible for financial aid. federal financial aid as well. The question becomes whether you should actually spend the time and complete this. And I would say to check with your school that you're planning on attending. In Hawaii, it's not going to help you at all. I'm not sure it's even worth it. And for the mainland, it depends. There are some states that have funds for undocumented immigrants. Check with the school. Parents' education. Did the parent go to college? They didn't go. One went and completed, or don't know. Don't answer, don't know. Pick one of these. And if you don't know, go ahead and click the one that says one or neither parent attended college, if you don't know. Again, this has nothing to do with your eligibility. It is not part of the formula. This will be used or could be used by some, not all, but some institutions when looking at scholarships or aid for first generation college students. So give it your best, but don't stress. It's not part of the formula. Parent killed in the line of duty after 9/11. Student, your high school completion status. We expect this to be high school diploma. However, it could be GED. It could be homeschooled as well. Those are fine. None of the above is not fine. I don't know what none of the above means. Now, understand that part of the eligibility for financial aid is that you have completed high school and or its equivalent, i.e. the GED, homeschooling, fine. None of the above, I don't know what that means. So that will just hang up the whole process until we sort that out. So don't answer none of the above. I need to know what high school you went to. So you'll start off by entering the state, then you enter the city, and you can't see it here, but right underneath my Brantley High School is the search box. Go ahead and click on that search box. What'll happen is you'll get a list that looks like this, with all of the high schools that are in that state, in that city. Find your school, click the little oval with the circle next to it, and continue. It will then bring that high school's information onto the form, and you're on your way. Continue again. Finances, this is actually super easy. Did the student file a 2024 IRS 1040 tax form? Yes or no? These are numbers that would not be on the tax form, but was there any type of college grant, scholarship, or AmeriCorps benefits reported to the IRS that was included on your taxes? The kicker here is reported to the IRS. The answer is 0. No, there was not. If this is your first year in college, you haven't gotten any grants, scholarships yet. But even if you are, chances are very slim that if you're an undergraduate student, that anything was reported to IRS. So 0. Foreign earned income exclusion. If you actually know what that is, you may need to pay attention to it. Otherwise, just put a 0 and click continue, and we move on.
Hey, Godfather.
Yeah,
Wait, go back to that question, please.
I don't want to.
I know you don't want to. This is for students who are continuing their college journey and possibly have gotten college grants and scholarships.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure we're clear in this. So a student gets a scholarship. Does that mean it's automatically reported on their tax return?
No, it is not. The only time we ever reporting grant scholarship type aid is when it exceeds the cost of attendance for the school. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time getting into it because part of my job is to make sure that doesn't happen. My job is I can't give you more money than what it's going to cost you to go to school. So you can't make a profit from going to college. If you did, then we're reporting it to the IRS. This generally only happens in graduate level where you get work study or teacher assistant, where there's a stipend or something that looks like a paycheck in the game, then it might be reported to IRS.
So the kicker here again, guys, is if it's reported on your tax return.
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Otherwise, I don't care. Don't tell me.
Back to you, Godfather.
Moving on. Okay, assets. I'll spend just a couple minutes on here, parents, for your benefit, because you're going to get the exact same questions. I don't expect our students to have a very complicated financial life at this point. Still too early. So this should be relatively straightforward. Starting off with cash in the bank. This is savings, checking, whatever it's called. If they've got money in the bank, this is where they would report it. We want the low number, meaning I know these numbers go up and down, especially on the parent side. Payday comes, you get plenty of money because you just got paid. Now, pay to rent, pay to mortgage, buy some food, put some gas in your car, pay Hawaiian Electric, and now you stay broke. Got it. Give me the broke number. We know it goes up and down, so give me a low number if it happens. If you happen to have a student that has a significant amount of money in a savings or a checking account, we may want to consider reporting that as a parent asset. The idea here is twofold. One, when the student opened that savings or checking account, they required a parent to kind of co-sign or put their name on it as well. We don't generally open bank accounts for infants without a parent's information. And if the
Hey,
account,
Godfather,
yes,
does that include a 529 savings plan?
no, it doesn't. I'll
Okay.
come to that in just a second, but good question. If the bank account has both names, I can report it under the parent as easily as I can, the student, and the parent gets assessed less of a percent than the student does. Student get money in the bank, they should use it to pay for college. Parents, I can't take all your money, you got bills to pay. Now, if we're talking 1,500, if we're talking $2,000, don't worry about it. Report it as a student, move on. 529, educational savings plans. First off, the only ones that we're going to report are going to be for this student only. So families, if you have multiple students and they each have a 529, I don't care about everybody else. I only care about this student. That is reported as a parent asset, not a student asset. And while I'm on this, I'll carry it to the logical end. If the student happens to have an UGMA or UTMA, they must report that as a student asset. So 529s, parent, UGMA, UTMA, student. And if you have no idea what an UGMA or UTMA is, no worries, you ain't got one. Don't have to worry about it. Move on. Net worth of investments. Again, I don't expect our students to have much. It would be very common for me to see zero in both the next two boxes, but parents, for your benefit, when I start talking about investments or assets, first off, here's what I'm not talking about. Your home, your primary residence. I don't care. Don't tell me. None of my business. That also means you don't get to report the mortgage. So for many of you, it's kind of a wash. Retirement plans. And I don't care what it's called. An IRA, traditional, Roth, a 401k, a KO, a STEP, a simple, whatever they call it, whatever the current retirement trend is, if it's a retirement account, you will not report it at all. The value is none of my business. Life insurance, and again, I don't care what it's called, whole life, term life, modify, whatever they're calling it. If it's life insurance, you don't report it. Items of a personal nature. Now, this would be your cars, your boats, your motorcycles, your jet skis, your jewelry, your furs. None of that gets reported, none of my business. Anything else you got is probably going to be considered an investment or an asset and does need to be reported. So this would include that condominium that you own in Waikiki that you're renting out and getting a fortune off of. You're not going to report the income here. Income is getting reported on your 1040 tax form, but you wouldn't have to report the net value of that property here because it's not your primary residence. Keep in mind that when we report assets, whether it's property or jewelry or stocks and bonds and mutual funds, it's always a net value. So we take the appraised value of that condo, we subtract any mortgage or HELOC or any type of debt that you have out against that property, and you report then only the net value of the property. The last one that we have here is net worth of the business or farm. The good news here is that they changed this law this year. It's kind of been going back and forth for the past 5 years, but currently it is. If you have a business that employs less than 100 people or 100 or less people, you do not need to report it. So if you got a business and you have 100 people employed, none of my business. Do not report it. If you have a business and you employ 101 people, then the night before you submit the FAFSA, because this question is as of the day you submit the FAFSA, the night before, lay one person off. Submit the FAFSA and then quickly hire that person back. We don't want to add to the ranks of the unemployed at all. If you have a farm and you live on it, you don't need to report anything whatsoever. Now, that for those of you who have plenty of money and you bought an investment farm down in Costa Rica where you're growing bananas, but you don't live there, you've never seen it, that would have to be reported. But family farms are no longer having to be reported, nor are family fishing businesses, by the way. So if you are a fisherman, the value of the boat and all the other assets you may have do not need to be reported. Students, you're going to have to tell me where we're going to send a copy of this information. In other words, this is how we get your information. You don't bring it to me, you don't fax it to me, you don't email it to me, you don't slip it under my door. It has to come from the processor. So you need to add the school's name. Now, in adding the school's name here, this is a no stress. Doesn't mean you committed, doesn't mean you're sure, doesn't mean you know anything yet. It's just, what are you thinking about? Also, you can always go back and add schools. So if you're doing this and you figure out 2 weeks from now that, oh, I wish I had added Windward Community College, no biggie. You can go back in and add the college. It's not a big deal. We're going to start with the state. Now, depending on what the state is, if it's Hawaii, you can actually just select Hawaii, click here, select Hawaii from the list, and then go ahead and click search. We just don't have that many colleges in here to make this a painful process. On the other hand, if it's California, or for that matter, if it's Oregon or Washington or Illinois or Texas, Pennsylvania, Florida, New York, any of the big boys, California's got thousands of colleges. You're going to need to narrow this down with the city. So you would give me the state, and then the state would actually come up here, and then you would give me the city, and then click search. And it would bring up a list that looks like this. On this list, you're just going to come over to the right and click the select, and it will add it to your FAFSA. This is what it looks like when it's added. Now, you have the option to add as many as 20 schools. I don't think that is a good thing at all. I think it's a bad thing, and I don't think they should have done that. If you are listing 20 schools on your FAFSA, you're being lazy, and you need to do some homework. You need to sit down at the table with mom and dad or anybody else that's part of your college planning process, and you need to narrow that list down. Now, I'm not saying you got to come up with the one school right then. I mean, you leave your options in there, but 20 is just flat out being lazy. I'm okay with the list of 10, which is what we changed it to 2 years ago. I was happier when it was 6 to 8 schools. We really want you to put some thought into that. I mean, it's very unlikely that you would submit admissions applications to 20 different schools because they have admissions fees. And you're not going to pay $100, $200 for 20 different schools just because you're being lazy. It's not going to happen. So give it some thought, add schools that you're considering, and remember, you can always go back and add more schools later on.
Hey, Godfather.
Yeah.
What if you don't have a school yet? What if you're looking at the different options of schools, but you haven't decided on a school yet, but you want to do the FAFSA on October 1st because the Godfather said to do it early? What do you do?
Bake it. Put down one of the Hawaii schools. And, are you likely looking at a community college? Then pick one of the community colleges. We have 7 of them. Get one. If you're thinking that it's going to be a 4-year school for you, then pick Hilo or Manoa or UH West Oahu. Either way, pick them both if you want. It doesn't mean you're going there. You're not committing to those schools. They're not going to send you a bill. Nothing's going to happen until you apply for admissions. you have to have a school on the FAFSA or you can't submit the FAFSA.
Okay. Thank you. Back
So
to you.
pick one. You can pick my school. Pick UH West Oahu and we won't bother you unless you're coming to UH West Oahu. Now we're going to invite a parent. This is the beginning of our contributor. And we're starting off, we're only going to invite one parent. Now, in the case of a divorce or separation, there is only one parent, so that's the only one we're going to deal with. But in the case of married parents, we will probably need information for both parents, but we're only going to invite one. And all you have to do is put an email address in here. Put the email and then click on Send Invite and click it over here one more time, and it will send the invite to the parent. The email is no big deal. It doesn't have to match anything. It could be their personal email. It can be their work email. It could actually be your school email. I don't care what the email is. We want your parents to be able to get it so that they can click the log in button that's on it. But even if they don't get it, it's not a big deal. But it's just a simple invite. And I stress it doesn't need to match anything whatsoever. This is kind of what it's going to look like. It's going to send the email and it will have a link. They're going to see it many times, but this is the code. This is the link. They can actually get in. If they never get the email, we can copy this code, give it to the parent, and they can type it in when they log in. It does the same thing. It's not a difficult thing at all. Student, you are now done. You have completed your section. We're still waiting for parents, so the FAFSA is not completed, but the student section is done. Move all the way down. Last page here, we're going to agree, and then we're going to sign. Notice that it says simply sign here. We're missing the word submit. We're not going to submit the FAFSA yet because it's still incomplete without parental information. Student, you will go ahead and sign. It'll let you know that it's pending submission, still waiting on the parent information, and then moving right along. You are now done. This is the email that the parent may get. In all honesty, the feds aren't perfect on this email. It goes through most of the time, but sometimes the parent never gets the email, or it goes to spam, or it goes to junk, or whatever. That's okay. Student, you have access to the code that the parent was assigned. All they need is that code and they can log in and do the same thing. It's nice to get the email because there's this blue box up here where you just click and it's automatically takes them to the sign in. Otherwise, they've got to go to studentaid.gov and click on the login button and then go from there. So again, they could have gone to studentaid.gov, click login, and then it would bring in this screen. Or if they accept the invite, it brings them here. Enter a username, enter the password, and then they're going to log in. This is where the code would be entered. They submit, and they are now logged in, attached or hooked up with the student's application. Parents, not that we ever want to leave you out, so you will get the same four boring screens. I suggest you skip it. Go ahead and click continue. Now, in the future, if you do have a rough night and you're having a difficult time falling asleep, by all means, log back in and go view the videos. You'll be out in 10 minutes. Guaranteed. Works every single time. Or read through the FAQs that they've added here as well. Continue. This is the remainder of the videos. Personal information, parent, this is coming from your FSA ID. You cannot change anything here. It is what it is. Click continue. Here's your very own consent and approval. Same as the student had, exactly the same. Move all the way to the bottom. Go ahead and click on approve. And just one more time, you don't have a choice. So you can grumble all you want, but you don't have a choice. If you don't do it, the student is not eligible for aid.
So, Godfather, just to follow up on that consent page.
Yeah.
So when you're providing consent, that means that your tax information is being sent from the IRS. Is that correct?
It's automatically transferring over. Yes.
And a parent doesn't have to do anything else. Just provide consent and that information gets sent over automatically.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you.
And I got to tell you, it's working really well. It's just as smooth as can be. It's fast, it's easy, it's simple. It's only for 1 year, just so you know. You will have to do it every single year. FAFSA is done every single year. But again, it just makes life so simple. Parents, this is your marital status. What is your current marital status? And if you've done a bunch of these things, you've been married and separated and divorced and then remarried, give me the last thing you did. That's fine. And then continue. State of residence. Again, if you were born here, give me the state, birthday. If you moved, give me the date you arrived. Parents, is anybody in your household in the previous 2 years receiving benefits from the following federally means-tested programs? Translation, anybody getting food stamps in your house? Any SNAP? Anybody getting WIC? Anybody getting TANF? Are you or is anybody in your household on Medicaid, which would be the Quest program here for us? Anybody getting free or reduced lunch via the Department of Labor, Agriculture? Section 8, housing. If anybody's receiving benefits like this, you would just check off the box. It does not alter your aid eligibility. It does not alter your SNAP eligibility. All it means is that another federal agency has looked at your household finances, and FAFSA just doesn't need to look all that much. If you were eligible for SNAP, then you're going to be eligible for aid as well, or you might be. Otherwise, you click none of these apply and continue. Parents, did you file a 2024 IRS tax form? If you answer no, a pop-up screen and it'll ask you why you didn't file a 2024 tax form. And one of those answers is I didn't make enough money. I wasn't required to. That's fine. And did you file a joint tax return with your current spouse? Parents' family size, it's going to pick this up from the IRS tax form. So if you've on your tax form, if you had the taxpayer, spouse, and then the student, those three are the only three in your household, then you don't need to do anything here. But if you have maybe grandma and grandpa living at home and you're providing at least 50% of their support, you're not claiming them on your taxes because they get Social Security and are still required to file a tax form, but you're providing 50% of their support, you definitely want to include them. You would go ahead and add 2 in the box down here, and that's 2 in addition to, and that's why your family size would go up to 5 at this point. So again, if it is what's on the tax form, you don't need to do anything. Otherwise, give me the additional in that box. How many will be going to college in the 26-27 aid year or award year? Parents, this is kind of the only questions we're really going to bother you about. There's kind of 2 sections at the bottom. The last 2 questions are the same we had for the student. Grant scholarships, AmeriCorps reported to the IRS 0. Foreign earned income exclusion. For most of you, I believe it will be 0. There is these 2 additional questions about a pension or IRA rollover. A rollover would be where you closed up one retirement plan and then you went immediately out and put that money into another different type of retirement plan. In many cases, when you close it, it then is reported on your tax form as income, and it makes it look like you're making a lot more money than you really are. And you don't have it because you put it in another retirement plan. So, wow, that's the end of that. But we can't tell that automatically from your tax form, which is why it's asking you here. And if you're not sure, go ask whoever's preparing your taxes, because it could be a big difference. I mean, this could be a big chunk of money that it looks like you're making. This is the asset page. Now, we slipped one other question in at the top only because we had no other place to put this question, and that is annual child support received. Not paid, received. So if anybody's received child support, you would enter the annual amount. I'm looking for the received amount. I don't care what the court said. I don't care what the paperwork says. I don't care what it's supposed to be. All I want to know is what you get. That's what gets reported. And then the personal assets, how much money you got in the bank on a bad day. Net worth of investments. This would include any real estate. You're not including retirement plans, life insurance, your primary residence, and items of a personal nature, none of my business. And then the net worth of the business, if it's if it's more than 100 employees, and the farm, unless you're living on it, and then you don't have to report it at all. And we're out of there. Parent spouse information. They're looking for the age of the parent, so that you will provide their date of birth. This is interesting. I really want to see them asking for the name, but I've realized in doing these that they get the name off of the tax form, so they probably don't need the name at this point. So date of birth they will need. It's used in the formula. Parent, you're done. Easy. Couldn't make it any easier. You get down to the end, go ahead and continue. We're going to go all the way down to the signature page. You're going to sign. And then down here, the blue box in the lower right-hand corner, this is where you will sign and submit from this point, and it will get sent. This is your congratulation page. This is when you can start breathing and let out your breath. At this point, it's done. You did it. It's gone in. Now, parent, this is what you're seeing. Student will get an email that's basically identical to this. It'll say, congratulations, your parents have completed their section. We now have your FAFSA. We're working on it. We're getting it processed. DJ, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, I'll take it from here. We have just one question.
What do we got?
And a big shout out to Jocelyn and Tracy for handling the Q&A. They're doing an awesome job tonight. What about a representative payee account held on the student's behalf? How does that factor into a student or parental asset? A representative payee account.
I'm not sure I know exactly what that is. And I'm not
I think
sure.
that has to do with the trust relationship. If a student becomes of age, the representative.
If it is something like that, the question becomes, who set the restrictions? If the restrictions have been set by a court in their state of residence, then it's restricted and I don't care. If this is a private trust, if somebody has set up a trust and restricted it, but they've done it not under order of the court, but because they wanted it, it still has to be reported at that point. But
Okay.
if it's, a lot of times for like car accidents or insurance settlements or something, there will be funds for the student, but it will be restricted by the court, saying you don't get it until you're 18 or 24 or whatever the case may be. If that's been established by a court, I'm not going to argue. Who am I? But if it's the parent or whoever established the trust sets that restriction, too bad. That one doesn't count. Got to get reported.
Okay. And then just really quickly, a CD, is that considered savings or an investment?
I would go with savings. To be honest with you, it doesn't matter. When we get to the formula, what we do is we just take all three of those boxes and add the numbers up, do our math.
Okay.
But technically, I would consider it savings.
All right. So this is what happens after I submit the FAFSA. So we want to remind you guys that you guys need to apply for admissions. The FAFSA is just the financial aid side of things. So we want to make sure that we are applying for admissions and we're accepted in that college or university. So it's both the college application and the FAFSA application as well, to make sure the student is completely where they need to be and moving forward through the admissions process at the college and university that they're applying to. We want students to be looking out for any email notification from especially from the FAFSA for their FAFSA submission summary, their FSS. This will be coming through, allowing students access to their FSS. We want to review that to see that it makes sense and that you guys have it in hand. The reason for this is that you're going to be using the FSS to be submitting to many scholarship programs. So you want to make sure that students have reviewed it and made any corrections if necessary. We also want to look out for information sent to colleges, making sure that this information that, that's the FSS being sent to colleges.
Automatically goes to
automatically, yeah. We want to make sure that if a school is requesting additional information, especially the financial aid office, that we as a student are working to complete that and giving any additional documents that the financial aid office is requesting. And remember, to receive financial aid award notifications from the school, it is the student who accepts or declines those awards. Mom and dad, we pay the bills, but we aren't able to accept or decline those scholarships. The student has to be the one to accept or decline those financial aid awards. All right, we want to let you guys know that in addition to just giving you guys the 101 on the FAFSA, we are also available to take you guys through the FAFSA. We're going to start these workshops in November. So November 5th all the way to December 17th, we're going to be having weekly Wednesday FAFSA completion workshops. And again, this will be a little bit of a different format, but they'll be free online Zoom workshops here every Wednesday. If you guys want to join us, you guys can easily register and access our FAFSA completion workshops at collegeiswithinreachhawaii.com. Next slide, please. We want to remind you guys, if you are looking for different sources of scholarships out there, we're going to be having a free virtual scholarship workshop that really goes into the application process, really gives you some helpful hints on applying, writing those essays, learning about the process for 3 different scholarship organizations. That's Sallie Mae Hawaii Community Foundation, and of course our friends at the University of Hawaii System Scholarship Program that will be going through their different scholarships. The hope is that you guys will learn the skills to apply to all of these different scholarships that are out there. We want to apply to all of these different sources of funding to make sure that we're accessing everything that we can. So join us. There'll be Thursdays, November 6th, November 20th. And again, you guys can register easily, free of charge at collegeiswithinreachhawaii.com. If you want a copy of tonight's slides, they are posted on our website, collegeiswithinreachhawaii.com, but it's also posted on our partner website, the Pacific Financial Aid Association's website, www.pacfa.org. 2 places to grab these slides. Feel free to grab them. It does have it has all the information that we presented tonight, and will actually help you, especially if you're trying to formulate a question. And with that said, we want to thank you guys all for attending. We want to remind you guys tonight, if you guys have any questions after tonight's presentation, even if you're in the shower and you're thinking, I have a question for Frank that I didn't ask, feel free to email us at fafsa@hawaii.edu. This is a free resource. You do not need to be a University of Hawaii student or need to be going to the University of Hawaii to email us. Feel free to just email us at fafsa@hawaii.edu. One of us will get back to you within 24 hours. In addition to that, our Instagram is at collegeiswithinreachhawaii. Our Facebook is Gear Up Hawaii. And again, we want to acknowledge our sponsors, Hawaii P20, and also the Pacific Financial Aid Association for co-sponsoring this event tonight. And with that said, we want to thank our financial aid officers who are here with us tonight, Tracy and Jocelyn, for rocking the house and answering all the questions out there. So the Godfather really didn't have a whole bunch to answer because they're all right there. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful night. I want to say mahalo to everybody joining us. And I guess we'll take second questions before we go off.
I got 2 of them here in the Q&A
Okay.
I think we could answer up. One had to do with getting into the FAFSA beta testing early. And the answer to that question is you would go to fasfa.gov, fasfa.gov, again, fasfa.gov, and there will be a banner at the top of that opening website page that will let you request access to Beta 2. The other, talking about the scholarship workshops, when we were talking about applications, it's the FAFSA that we want you to get done early. Scholarship applications will not be open in October, or most of them aren't. They don't tend to open until November, and then they're open for about 3 to 4 months, depending on the scholarship. But you don't do scholarship applications necessarily in October, which is why we're holding the workshops in November.
Okay. Godfather, you got that first question about what email? How do they do the FAFSA early?
Go to FAFSA.gov. That's FAFSA.gov, and there's a banner at the very top with a link.
So if you want to
Request
do the
access.
FAFSA tonight and use the beta access for it, that's how you're going to do it. It's not an email requesting access to the FAFSA. It is interest at FAFSA.gov. Follow the banners at the top. That's how you get access to doing the FAFSA right now if you guys want to jump on. All right, great question here. When do we know if we get funded and how much?
Later than you would like. And I should have apologized right up front for this, because we're the pushy ones. Do it now, do it now, do it early, do it early. And you do it early, and a week goes by and a month goes by, and you're going, God, I sent this thing in early and nobody told me what I get. You're not gonna. You probably, we don't really start processing new student applications for 26, 27 until December-ish. Where our goal is by January anyway to get award notifications out. But prior to that, we're working on our incoming fall students at this point. We're not yet looking at 26, 27 years. So depending on where you're going, it would be as early as January. It could be as late as April. That's the honest truth.
Okay. What if we want to apply for early decision, early action? How does that impact our financial aid? Can we know how much aid we received before accepting an early decision offer? That's a great question.
It is a great question, and the answer, unfortunately, is it depends. Depends on the school. I can tell you probably not. Some schools are very good about getting aid offers out, or at least estimated aid offers for early admit students. But a lot of them just don't have the capability. I mean, we don't even know what Pell Grant's going to be. Now, hopefully we're going to know that pretty soon. But I can tell you, I have seen years where we don't know what Pell Grant is until February, because Congress is doing stupid stuff and not getting down to business and getting the numbers to us. It's going to depend on the school. It has nothing to do with your early admissions, but whether or not you're going to get early aid estimates, I don't know. But I wouldn't, don't hold your breath for it.
Yeah. All right. And we have answered all of the questions in the hopper. So with that said, on behalf of the Godfather of Financial Aid, Mr. Frank Green, the Cash Money Princess, Lauren Fruto, our friends Tracy and Jocelyn from our financial aid offices at the University of Hawaii System, my name is DJ Gusty Gus. Aloha.
Aloha, everybody.